everyone, I'm Mayang from 42 Interactive, a digital transformation agency from Sydney, Australia. Our BTS podcast series, or behind the scene podcast series, will cover everything you need to know about 42 Interactive as a company, its journey, its amazing team, and our collaboration.
I am now joined by Marian, the executive producer of 42 Interactive. Hi Marian, it's so good to have you here today with us. Thank you for joining our podcast series. This is actually the third episode of our BTS series, and we are so glad that we have you here today because there's quite a lot of things that we want to discuss. I'm sure you've got a lot of things you want to share with us as well, right? So let's get started.
Thanks for asking. Good to see you.
It's quite cold in there, right? In Kyoto.
It's nice. It's cold now, but it's good.
So, I just wanted to say, first of all, congratulations on your recent move to Kyoto. I'm sure it's been quite a change, right? And I heard Kyoto is so beautiful. It's really popular for its beautiful site. So, have you had a chance to explore around by any chance?
Yeah, I do, but during the day I'm working. Yes, I've been. Look, I've been to Kyoto many times, but I've been to Kyoto as a tourist, and as you know, my husband is Japanese, so we moved to Kyoto last year, and I had a chance to settle in. It's a beautiful city. I mean, just to look at Camel River every day is just it's a luxury. I'm doing also a tea ceremony in Ikebana, so I think I'm in the right place. I'm in the right city. I really enjoy the temples, the shrines. It's a beautiful city. A lot of culture, a lot of history. I also like samurai history, so I'm literally in the sweet spot. It's fantastic. I'm really enjoying it. Yeah.
I bet. I'm so jealous.
More, but I'm busy during the weekends. But it's been fantastic so far. Really, really beautiful city.
Okay, talking about changes, I'm sure it's been quite a change for you, right? From Australia, living in Australia, and then moved to Japan. What do you think is the not to say extreme change for you from Australia to Japan? Something that you think this is very different for me, in your daily life?
In Australia, I think people are very loud. I think in Japan, when you're on the train or the subway, it's refreshing, it's very quiet. And so you can really relax and you feel safe or still safe. And people are just so polite and respectful, and everyone will stand in the line. Now, don't get me wrong, Australian people are very respectful in staying in the line, but I think, obviously it's big. It's a big difference in the culture of the people, how they behave, how they think. And I think I enjoy, the peace of the people and to take care of the people. Everything is so well thought through. It's very different. You got, pros and cons in every culture. I really like Australia, and I think Japan as well is a beautiful country. But if I have to pick one, I probably will say that Australia is clean. I'll probably say the quietness in the transport and how respectful the Japanese people are. If I have to pick one item among many others.
It's quite nice, isn't it? They're very, the country itself, especially Kyoto, is very peaceful, and people is quite very quiet and considerate with people around them. That's
considerate.
Nice, actually.
That's nice. It's beautiful. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So moving on to our main question. So as Japan is known for its cool and unique technology, right? Can you give us your take on how technology is being used into daily life in Japan? Let's see, how do you think it's affect the way people go about the daily routines?
I think it's such a big question, right? Because technology is used by the people. So when you talk about technology, you will talk about the culture, and the Japanese society's got a challenge, which is the aging population. So if you follow the statistic, the World Bank in 2020, 28% of the people are aged over 65 years old in Japan. and in 2050 it's going to jump to 40%, which is due to the life expectancy increasing and also the low birth rate. But what it means is that the society is one of the oldest in the world, right? So it has the technology has been here to really accommodate being more efficient, more practical, and more comfortable for the society. Now, I think, Japan is very diverse. So if you go to Tokyo, you will have, the craziness, right? That's probably what you have in mind, right? The Tokyo with, the light, the music, the giant 3D billboard. Yeah. And you go to Harajuku and you probably got, those massive, giant 3D cats, jumping on you. And it is one aspect of Japan. And that's the culture of the kawaii, right? The kawaii culture and everything is, again, going back to everything has been thought well about, everything is well thought, and everything is good. And so that's one aspect of the Japanese culture. Now, yes, the technology is crazy there. And then, so that will be for the entertainment and the sense of wonder that you probably experience when you go to Tokyo. And then sometimes, so you can go to other city or also some part in Tokyo, but you will see it has been more used for the convenience. So there's a lot of, you can pay everything with mobile phone. So wherever you go, so it's much more convenient. You can use, your Pasmo, your Suica transport card to pay for your drinks or for, the retailers that are inside, the train station. So everything is much more connected and much more efficient for the people when they commute. It's there, right? Everything is connected. Then you've got to accommodate for the aging population. You've got lots of robots, right? So as well, Japan is very well known for its robots. So you got the humanoid robot and the service robots. And you're going to see, like, you go into the train station and you will see a Pepper robot that's got the designs of a policeman. And it's going to ask for your, for your transport ticket. And
that's really cool.
That's cool. That's really cool.
That's really cool.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Check my transport. Yeah, please do. And then you got to, respect the robot, and the robot will do the police check. Or you go to a store and you will have the robot taking your initial question and make you sit while waiting for the main person to come through. And this is because Japan is more people. So again, going back to the culture as to why robots is so important and ingrained into today's, in everyday's life, is because with the aging population and less people, skilled worker as well, which is a challenge, skilled worker, then they will need robot to take some positions, so especially in sales, customer service, maintenance, but as well in healthcare, manufacturers, like in all big
and hotel as well.
And a hotel, but especially you will see them in areas. You will see them in areas that you don't see them in Europe or in Australia. You don't see them. You may see some of them, but not in the extent in Japan. When they do, the sales or the customer service from the robots. So that's definitely some key areas that straight away jump on my mind. So the sales robots and the humanoid robot. And then after as well, something that is very unique is, I think, the VTuber. So the virtual
yeah, I've seen it a lot.
Huge with Kizuna AI. You've got Kizuna AI, the hologram and hologram concept. Kizuna AI, she's got millions of followers, and VTuber. And I think with the latest Sony product that is going to be released with Mokopi, everyone can easily transform into an anime or into a creature, like a fox, right? You can just do the VTuber. Yeah. So this is a huge trend, and this is probably very unique to Japan. I think the technology is there, but you won't see that in France yet, for example, and you won't see that in Australia yet. Now, it doesn't mean that it's not going to come, but the trend is not the
going
same.
slowly. Yeah,
it's going much slower. VTuber is huge in Japan, and again, is going back to the anime industry. Everything is anime, AI, and how you can adapt AI in more creative ways. And so you will see VTuber, even on the TV, they will come, right? So NHK during the New Year show, there was hologram, and they were part of the main TV show, which is it's really cool. Like I really like that. This is a mix of hologram that was doing a concert.
Okay, so we just discussed about fashions that we haven't really in Japan, that we haven't really seen anywhere else, like in Australia and France. And now, can you share with us any potential challenges or opportunities for Japan in the field of technology?
That's a very small question, isn't it? Yeah, let me try to summarize what I think, because it will be based as well on my experience. So I think everyone will have a different opinion, but I think the first one that I see is the aging population. I think embrace digital transformation, and this is good, but the challenge is because the population is aging. So it means that naturally you will need to explain probably more some new technologies, or the adoptions of the new technologies, or the changes around certain way on how things are getting done, or in the internal process of the company will maybe slower to adapt. So the data is there to show that it's slower than the rest of the world. And I think it's probably the biggest challenge is, the low birth rate. So that's a big challenge. That what it means from a technology, because you can't separate the technology from the people and the culture. So what it means is that the technology will be, the challenge is that they will need to keep up with, the robotics and the automation and the AI, which is, so one challenge, one new opportunity, which is the AI and robotics. Now, the second challenge will be the skills shortage. So there's a skilled workforce shortage. So what it means is that the country may be a little bit less becoming less competitive compared to the rest of the world, which again is linked to the demographic. So that's an area that they will need to watch out in the future. And so that's why the opportunities now lies, again, challenge opportunity lies in the smart city. So you have this notion in Japan of Society 5.0. And in the Society 5.0 is how we can make smart cities and how the autonomous vehicles will work and how we can design the future of the cities to accommodate for that population challenge, and then how to best solve it, including robotics, new opportunity robotics in the edge care, and how we can make sure that they don't feel alone, but we can still very well integrate them and taking care of them in the healthcare, but as well in the in the entertainment. When I mean entertainment is in the everyday care, what you can communicate with a robot. I know that, I know a grandma that had that. She had a teddy bear and she could, get her talk, and at specific hours, she can have that conversation with the robot. Now, some people might laugh at it, but, I asked them a question. When was the last time you visited your grandparent? And when was the last time you were there for them? And I said, taking care of them. And suddenly they're like, well, not as much. And I'm like, yeah, you're not here totally for them. So allow robots and the new technology to help them for the healthcare, but also for, the everyday conversations.
Yeah, fair enough.
I think that's an area that is an opportunity, it's a challenge, an opportunity. And then the development of 5G, the IoT, smart cities, Society 5.0 is where, the key areas for Japan, as I see them, based on my experience, and also in cybersecurity. I think that a lot of countries right now, the challenge of cybersecurity is not only in Japan, it's around the world. But I will say there is this area as well to grasp and control better and expand on. And it's probably one area that Japan wants to boost.
Actually, a quite interesting take, Marion, because right now with everybody is really engaged with technology and really depending on AI skills and advanced technology and stuff like that, it's kind of like giving off a very negative feedback right? It's people always say that it kind of separate the bonds, that crucial bonds between human, and we're really like too dependent to technology and AI. But with everything that you told us just now, it's like a very positive perspective of how using technologies for the, greater purpose.
Okay. Yeah, that's funny you mentioned that, because at Don Avatar Cafe in Tokyo, it's robots, but it's not controlled by AI. It's controlled remotely by people with disability. So they work remotely and they control the robots, and then those robots will serve you. Again, it's just so many different usage. It's only one area of technology, but it's just to give you some perspective. I think if that technology can be used for not putting people away, but for bringing people together and create that connection and have a social aspect, and allow people with disability to, get a job, or allow people to feel safer with technology, or allow to have the right, support, customer care, then I will say this is great. This is what technology is for, to bringing us together and not to separate us. So that's an example that I want to focus on.
That's actually quite amazing. Because these days people say advanced technology is kind of like separate us with the humanity, and then it makes us get going quite cold, separate all the bonds of humans bonds and stuff like that. But this is actually a really good positive perspective of using advanced technology. Amazing. Thank you for that.
I think we need to remember human needs to control technology, not the other way around. We control how technology is going. We are the creator, and we are the one controlling it. If we want the technology to destroy us, it can, and probably it can already. But we can't let that happen. We need to use technology for something bigger than ourselves and for bringing people together. And I think I've seen some example in Japan there. It just, it's to address a challenge. Now, it's not only the only way to address a challenge. There's so many different things that needs to be changed, right? But it's one area that if it can be, if it can change the life of one person, I will say that's already good. That's already good. So let's take some baby steps. But this is only one example among many. But I like to emphasize on the positivity of what technology can bring in the social space. And I think that will be one area. And also how Japan combine, the physical with the digital. So you will have, for example, the digital competitions and then, a physical elements in the concept. So how you can combine those experiences, I think are very interesting to see.
Okay, so to finish off, this is the last question. Can you give us your thoughts of what kind of tech advancements Japan has that Australia might not have yet? And do you think it would be a good idea for Australia to adopt them?
Again, very small question, isn't it? Yeah. I can think of one multiple thing again, but I'll try to stick with one. Shinkansen and the high-speed train. The Shinkansen in Japan is amazing. It's very silent and goes very fast, obviously. And it really changes, the country and the transportations, and going back to making life easier, more convenient,
more effective,
and more effective. And it changes, the economy and the social tissue of a country. And I think it's funny enough, there was an article last week about it. And it was the Japanese ambassador in Australia that is potentially working with the Prime Minister on a cooperative project, so between Japan and Australia, to bring the high-speed rail train to Australia.
Nice.
And how it could change Australia. Now, I read the article and they were thinking, well, Melbourne to Sydney could be, 3 hours in high-speed train, and then maybe creating a line towards the east to go Brisbane to Melbourne, I think. And it will be it will be amazing. It's almost hard to visualize how much the country can change if the high-speed train is like Shinkansen is set up in Australia. In Chatswood, in the north of Sydney, you've got a subway line. But if you want to, if you're from the west, right? So I used to be in North Strathfield. If you go from the west to the city, you don't have a subway. You still rely on the train. And so it's not only slow, but it's just not reliable. It's not convenient and not comfortable. So I think, when I read this article, what Australia can be, if we had, sorry, let me rephrase it. What Australia could be if we had the Shinkansen, I think when I read this article, it will be a huge change. Like to have Melbourne, Sydney, 3 hours in train, so people can just go back and forth so easily. I mean, it really changes all the economy and social. It will be magical. It will be a big, huge change. So that's definitely one area. If I have to pick one, I will say to have Shinkansen in Australia, with respecting Australian infrastructure and nature and how we can all work together. I think that project is very interesting. So I will take the Shinkansen in Australia. Another area probably is the mobile payment. I think if I could, use my Opal card in Sydney, and I'll be able to pay for all the retailers and all the shops in the train stations without having, banknotes or coins, and I can just pay with my card. That will make, things easier as well and more practical.
Quite handy, isn't it?
I think it's quite handy. It's quite handy, and I think Australia is behind on the mobile payment compared to the other countries. Mobile payment is used everywhere all the time here, and I think Australia is behind in that area. There will be, where is the money, like physical money, and you're like, I've got my card, I'm ready to go.
What mean? So it's not really a cashless kind of
I think those two areas. That's probably the two areas that comes to my mind, straight away. I think the rest is more, again, going back to the culture, will be more individual choices, or an individual choice, or preference. But I think for a country to have mobile payments and distributions of the mobile payments will be definitely one. And to Shinkansen, or having high-speed train between, all the cities in Australia, because it's such a big country, but obviously with, climate challenges, but if we can accommodate for all the natural conditions of the country, I think it could be huge.
Yeah, that's quite right, actually. And talking about the cashless things, it was very convenient as well when we had the pandemic before, because we can't really touch things a lot, right? And then exchange cash is kind of like, how you call it? Well, it's a bit risky that time. Yeah. So it was quite handy to just transfer it from your phone.
I think Japan already had that for, especially in mobile payment. I'm talking, there's a lot of things that can be improved, don't get me wrong, like in every country, but as well in Australia, I think it's probably has been a bit of a accelerator to go into cashless society and use, without touching your money, and being able to pay more conveniently, especially if you don't have the change, right? Like if you have change on your transport card, why can't you use that change rather than having somewhere else? So it's again, a different vision on things and different approach. But I think things are going to get there, but it's probably the distributions and the agreement between the banks and the retailers. But I think that's probably the one area that I can think Australia being a bit behind. So yeah, it will be good to take that from Japan. I'm sure there's other things, but that's from my experience, definitely two big things: Shinkansen and the cashless society.
Okay, that was such a fun and interesting conversation we had there. Thank you so much for taking the time to share your thoughts with me, Marion. Okay, so to obviously wrap it off, how do you say goodbye in Japanese?
Different ways of saying goodbye, but I will use the non-formal way for you, Janet.
Okay. Janet? Okay.
Jenny,
Yeah.
it's okay. Bye now.
Okay, bye.
So that's it for this podcast series. Please look forward for our next podcast series. For more information about our services, please visit our website and other social media channels. Don't forget to subscribe and like. Bye!